What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to week 7 of the CCS Apollo League. Today, we have a cross conference matchup for you as 3-3 final boss takes on 1-4 Gojo's Gym. I'm Raj Chains, joined by Elsa, and we are ready for action today. Elsa, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, Ride Chains. Excited to be here for week 7 and see these two teams. Of course, we saw Final Boss last week on the stream against Lotus. They weren't able to take it home, but with an opponent here today that, at the very least, record wise, is not, nearly as. Tough, I guess. We will hope to see them be a little bit more successful, at least if you are a Final Boss fan.
Bands are flying through here as Final Boss taking off the Hecarim, the Tristana, and the Morgana. Gojo's Gym on the other side taking away Alawi, Diana, and Ari. And an instant first pick for Senna for Final Boss.
Yeah, we know how strong that Senna has been. We've seen it a couple weeks in a row now, both banned and finally picked at certain points here. So definitely excited to see what that can do for Final Boss in this one. And, on the other side, it does leave open the possibility of like that Seraphine Ash combo, which is super, super strong. We've seen that on the stream here a lot of times getting banned out before that they could put it together. So we'll see if they decide to pick that now. They could also, if there's some other power pick that they really want to pick up here, it's the Ash. It's unlikely to be taken away in the second round of picks by Final Boss, so perhaps they'll save that one. We'll have to see here what they want to do with that.
Interestingly enough, Senna was one of those champions who was really strong in the bot lane. I think just received a nerf last week in the AD carry position, if I'm not correct, or if I'm not mistaken. So a little bit weaker on the champ now, and I think more people are playing it support, but still can deal out a lot of damage, especially oh, never mind. They locked in Rakan, so it's going back into the AD carry role. Um Wukong as well, the pick for Final Boss. And Seraphine and Mel on the other side, a lot of AP damage, a lot of range. We'll see if Mel opts to go into the mid lane or into the bottom lane as well. But I think both roles are quite strong for Mel right now.
Yeah, I mean, and we've been talking about how generally there's been a lot more mages in the bot lane recently. It has not something that's leaked as much into CCS as much as professional play as well as high level solo queue. But it's only a matter of time until I think that we see that here. So definitely a possibility of that Mel going into the bot lane right now. Rychains, I was recently checking out your match history, and I saw that you've also been abusing some of those mage bot laners. So needed to call you out on that, some of the brand and whatnot. So you are no stranger to those, to abusing the game, basically.
Yeah, you what's the saying? You either live long enough to die a hero, or you live long
Risk
enough to
yourself, become a
become a
villain.
villain. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've become the villain. I've become what I've hated the most, and that is an AP bot lane player. I've been spamming the brand.
Whatever
So,
works,
so
man. Whatever works
I
to get
mean,
that elo.
listen, I'm shameless. I'll abuse something for Elo. It's okay. I had to get back to Diamond, so any
Yeah.
any by any means necessary. Mordekaiser and Ash taken away here. That Ash pick you mentioned actually in the bottom lane could have been the play for Gojo's, but not going to be online for this game. Zehen, the last ban for Gojo's Gym here, and also Scion was the R3 pick for Gojo's, taking that into the top lane. And I feel like we've seen Scion on the stream like 3 or 4 weeks in a row.
Yeah, lots of Scion. I mean, it's a great competitive champion, right? Like it does really well in lane. Even if you fall behind in lane, it's not that big of a deal. You're still able to farm, always able to contribute in the team fights, always able to get cross map with your ultimate, and use that for an easy engage option. So it's something that's nice to see as far as a counter pick, or as far as not as a counter pick, as a blind pick. So not a surprise to see that here, and we'll see what Murphy wants to do in response to that. Obviously, we'll see that in this next round of picks, but it looks like the Caitlyn going into the
Okay.
bot lane, so there will be that heavy range, really strong laning combo. Even though they took the Ash away, still managed to pick something up here for Gojo's Gym that will make the laning phase very difficult for this Senna and Rakan as well, who he absolutely has utility in the lane phase, but you think more of Rakan on as that mid to late game, starting the team fights, being able to jump in, with the quickness and with the heroic entrance. So, yeah.
Whoa, Anivia is going to be locked in here for
Okay.
J Feather in the mid lane. A little bit of a pocket pick. And wow, Garen.
Oh,
Okay.
all
Okay. Wow.
right.
We got some spicy solo lanes coming out for Final Boss.
Yeah, I mean, so we've seen Final Boss. I think this is like the third time that we've seen them on the stream overall, and I've been waiting for this Garen pick to come out from Murphy. It's definitely one of the top played in solo queue for him. So not a surprise to see him as a player pulling it out, but it's certainly not a champion that we see a lot in competitive. Does do really well into that Scion though. You can use your Q to interrupt his the Scion Q when he's channeling that if you can time things correctly, and also just generally not very threatened in the lane phase by Scion. So typically we've seen Murphy on a lot of kind of utility champions, is where he's made his bread and butter. The Poppy comes to mind in particular. So we're seeing him on something else this game. Really interested to see the impact that he can make here.
Yeah, Murphy is one of those players who, is a strong point for Final Boss. You mentioned the Poppy that we've seen a couple weeks, kind of that patented pick. Even last week, Murphy getting a shout out from the opposing top laner after the game, for
Oh
being
yeah.
just a strong opponent. So on the Garen here, I wonder if he's gonna take Ignite. You know what I mean? I feel like we see a lot of Garens take Ignite in the lane just to kind of add that extra little aggression. Um,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
we'll
I feel
see.
like I mean, we will see. I feel like you might as well. I mean, we're in this season. You get the automatic teleport eventually. It's a very long cooldown, but, probably worth it if it means that you're able to get ahead in the lane phase. Plus, Garen is never going to be the best champion at like grouping.
Mhm.
Anyways, team fights are not necessarily his strong suit. So, excited to track what happens with this pick. Something else, to track that we've been talking about in the last few weeks is that last pick again was reserved for jungle here. So they do pick the Jarvan 4, and in that they did sacrifice being able to have any kind of counter pick in those lanes, even though they were in those solo lanes, even though they're on red side here. We can question kind of the methods there, but I will say that it looks like they got very strong blind picks in both of those lanes. I think that they're probably happy with being able to prioritize that Mel and the Scion. But it's just kind of a question here of how much utility can you get out of that last pick. It's not really a counter matchup as far as I'm concerned with Jarvan into the Wukong, both just like generally strong junglers at the moment. So it's not a bad pick by any means, but doesn't necessarily take advantage of the red side this time from Gojo's gym.
Yeah, and you mentioned the safeness of these solo laners here. Sion's one of those champions that pretty much doesn't matter what happens in the lane, always going to be useful at some point in the game. Whether it's the split push, whether it's being able to just infinitely stack the HP, whether it's just becoming super tanky at the end of the game, taking towers in the side lane, whatever. Champion's always going to be strong. And then Mel, another champion who I think is really broken. Um, can just deal so much damage so quickly and is also relatively safe in the lane. Going to be able to repel or reflect the Anivia Q. We'll see,
Yep.
what Astro Boy is able to do on that with this, in this game, but should be
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah, I do like the way that the Jarvan synergizes with both the Mel as well as the Seraphine in this one, though. If you can get a couple of these priority carries, specifically the Anivia and the Senna, neither of whom are going to be able to get out of the Jarvan ultimate, just gives you a really easy target for Mel to be able to hit her stun and all of her damage then on top of that inside the Cataclysm. So that's what I'm going to be tracking within these team fights is, whether Frosty can find good positionings for the Jarvan ultimate, that trap at least one of these carries inside or force them to flash away.
Yep, that's going to be key here. Before we throw it to a break, want to give a quick reminder that we are continuing our CCS Revival replay runs. We got some tech that allows us to watch and download replays even after client patches. All we need from you is to upload all the raffle files of your match to hashtag Apollo Replays in the Discord. Be sure to include all game replays and team sides per game. Main goal of this is to have your matches on the CCS YouTube, so we all have access and the potential to watch all the matches week by week instead of just the stream matches. And who knows, they might even get casted. So, think your game's a banger? Upload to Apollo Replays now. We're going to take a short break for the competitive integrity spectator delay, but we will be on the Rift shortly for game number 1 between Final Boss Zenith and Gojo's Gym. Don't go anywhere. All right, and we are on to the Rift for game number 1 between Final Boss Zenith and Gojo's Gym. Final Boss Zenith on the blue side here. Murphy on Garen in the top lane. Haywan on Wukong in the jungle. J-Feather on the Anivia in the mid lane. And Dilly and Bravo rounding it out with the Senna and the Rakan.
And on the other side, we got Gojo's Gym with young Callie in the top lane, Frosty on the Scion, Frosty in the jungle on the Jarvan, Astro Boy in the mid lane on Mel, and then we got Hoodie Chris and Wayne taking up the Caitlyn and Seraphine in the bot lane. Saw an early invade there just to get a little bit of vision, it looks like, for Gojo's Gym, so they will be aware of which side Haywan is going to be starting out on here, but it was matched by Final Boss Zenith as well, so there should be pretty good knowledge of these junglers early on.
One thing to watch early in this game is the addition of Hoodie Chris into this bottom lane. We saw earlier this week that this is a new player for Gojo's Gym, so looking forward to seeing how they are able to perform on the big stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's the second, first time on stream here for Hoodie Chris, but overall the second week of Hoodie Chris being on the team. And last week we did see Gojo's Gym upset XFV Rush. And so, normally we would call that a huge upset on the side of Gojo's Gym. I think they would probably say that was everything as planned with this new AD carry edition. So, if anybody else caught Romeo's roundtable video from earlier this week, featuring some of the folks from this matchup, they are definitely feeling rejuvenated as a team for Gojo's Gym with this new addition. And I mean, I like that they came right out here in the first game and picked a 2v2 that gives their bot lane the ability to flex a little bit, I guess, in this lane phase if they do play it out correctly.
Definitely, the double ranged into melee support is always pretty hard for the melee support to play here. So Hoodie Chris and Wayne in this bottom lane gonna have some tempo early. Should have a lot of priority in this lane. We'll see what they can do with it here as both junglers make their way down onto the bottom side of the map. Looking for just a full clear. About to be finishing up with that. Oh, a nice little double E there from Wayne. Gonna find the route onto 2 and a little bit of damage traded over. But for now, the calm before the storm.
One of the things that I think is interesting here, looking at the summoner spells, is that Hoodie Chris did end up going with the Ghost. Normally we've been seeing AD carries taking the barrier instead, but does want to have kind of that additional kiting ability in the team fights, potential chase down should that become relevant. So we'll watch how much value Caitlyn is actually able to get out of the Ghost. I'm not sure how common that is from your perspective, Ride Chains, but not something that I feel like I've seen a ton of.
I think it just depends on the matchup. I mean, I can see it being good in this game, where you just want to space a little bit harder. A lot of, 3 melee champions on the enemy team in the Garen, the Wukong, and the Rakan. So I think there's definitely space for Ghost in this game. But it like you said, it is a little bit unconventional.
Yeah. And a pretty quiet early game here, as you mentioned, Ride Chains. I mean, both these junglers, they're very level 6 oriented. Want to get the Cyclone and the Cataclysm respectively there before they're doing too much. Wanted to take an opportunity to also talk about the playoff standings for these teams. So for Final Boss sitting at 3-3, they do still have to win both of their remaining games in the regular season if they want to guarantee themselves the lower bracket. It's possible, as you see that reflected Q there. It's possible for them to get the lower bracket without winning both games, but winning both of their series would guarantee it. It's also possible for them to hit the upper bracket if they do manage to win both of their series, but only if they win both their series could they go upper bracket. For Gojo's Gym, it's a little interesting because they actually still have one of their rescheduled matches that is yet to be played from earlier in the CCS. So they're sitting at 1-4 as is. So they are in a situation where they absolutely need to win at least 2 of their 3 remaining series if they want to be able to make it to that lower bracket, they would have to win all 3 to even have a chance to make it to the upper bracket. So, both of these teams still very much alive, with their fate kind of in their own hands, and that starts with this series here tonight.
Appreciate that little narrative drop there for all the people listening in. Now you know, Dragon started up here, but it's gonna be the Hex Tech, and Gojo's Gym looking for it, should be able to take that pretty easily there. Haywan was in the area, but Gojo's Gym 4 members strong, able to just take that down real quick and pick up an early Dragon for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this team for Final Boss has really, really good scaling. So I understand not wanting to, throw too much away or put themselves too far behind just based on that first Dragon. Not only with the Anivia that we're looking at right now, but also the Senna. Both of these champions are just going to scale really, really strong into the later stages of this game. So I think it makes sense to me that they don't want to make any massive mistakes early on. My question watching now the Anivia Q getting reflected multiple times is, does it do anything other than just block it? Because you can't reactivate it, right? Like as Mel. So
Yeah, that's what I was wondering as well. I think it just goes back, and I think maybe, yeah, I think maybe in the later game when things are a little more chaotic, it might hit someone, but if Anivia's getting it bounced back at her, I feel like she should be able to dodge the stun at the end every single time. But we'll see.
Still better than getting hit by it. So
better than getting hit by. At least you're throwing something back,
Yeah. Yep. Better than nothing for sure. Yeah, I mean, these lanes are pretty even early on here. No huge CS leads anywhere. A little bit of a CS lead in the mid lane for Astro Boy, but outside of that, even these top laners still looking pretty even. So interested to know if there's kind of a break point where of items where Garen is able to be, kind of challenge the Scion a little bit more. I think at the very least he probably needs a little bit of a longer lane, because as it is, young Callie is pretty happy to just back off until the minions get closer to the tower and then use his abilities to clear those ones out. But you can see he is running a little bit low on mana, so eventually we'll have to go back to the base. Doesn't have the teleport coming up anytime super soon. So yeah, those are the margins of this game so far. Not too much.
And Murphy already has that Tiamat, so looking to build pretty aggressive into the Scion. Any other interesting items here? Pickaxe early for Senna. That's going to be going into the static shiv build that we see so often nowadays on the champion. Also, pickaxe for Hoodie Chris. I feel like that's not a common early buy, but here we go into this bottom lane here as Dilly's going to flash away from the Flag and Drag and the Encore, able to get out of that play, but does have to burn the Summoner spell, and Frosty's now in this bottom side taking away the Krugs.
Yeah, I mean, Frosty did also flash, so, I mean, he has the gap closed to abuse the lack of Senna flash, but it was at least a 1-for-1 flash trade, and this is the first time that we've really seen Caitlyn doing Caitlyn things, which is having that wave all the way shoved in, able to hit the turret a little bit, and it does start to grow a little bit more of a gap here in the spot lane.
Astro Boy in trouble here as the Cyclone is going to find the one knock-up. There's the second iteration of it, and the spears come through. First blood going over to Haywan.
Yeah, nice gank being able to get behind Astro Boy. Astro Boy also utilizing the flash, so this should be a fairly easy re-gank if Astro Boy, plays up as far and aggressively as they did on that play. And we got the bot lane gank.
All right, Frosty back here. Root goes wide from Senna. Flag and Drag dodged out nicely. But the grand entrance finds knockups onto one and gets the final boss bot lane out without any issues here.
Yeah, Caitlyn did use the ghost to try to get in position to do damage, but ultimately Frosty not going to pull the trigger on that one. So Murphy's getting into a little bit of a I cannot remember the word of it now,
Proxy.
but going proxying, exactly. I'm like the thing that Singe does. Yeah, but he's Garen instead. So yeah, I mean, but still not really growing that much of a lead. Cyan is able to do a great job of clearing out those minions by himself. But now you can see with these multiple ganks in a row from Frosty, there
Oof.
has been a big impact because they're already going to
Oh
take down
my.
this first turret at 10.5 minutes. That's a lot of gold going into the pocket of this Caitlyn, who already has the Hex Optics completed. Will be on the way to her second item already here. Now up almost 25 CS over Dilly.
Man, that is so much gold to the Caitlyn now. Hoodie Chris sitting at around 1,200 gold up on Dilly as we approach the 11-minute mark. I mean, that's a pretty big lead for being
Yeah.
0-0-0.
Yeah, I mean, it's about as big as you could have for that score line, I would say, at this point in the game. So, I mean, so far, this bot lane for Gojo's Gym has done what they set out to do when they picked these Caitlyn's. The last thing that you want to see when you pick Caitlyn is, just going even in lane or even worse, losing lane to the enemy bot lane. But has not been the case so far. They did a nice job of pushing the enemy bot lane up, got a little bit of help from their jungler, which doesn't hurt either. And they put themselves in a great position here as they work on this dragon that presumably will be taken without any contest. That's dragon number 2 for Gojo's Gym.
Second one of the game, Infernal, and the Cloud Winds quicken on the Rift here. 2 dragons to 0 in favor of Gojo's Gym with about a 1,000 gold lead in this game. A lot of all of that gold, in Hoodie Chris's pockets. Here is Jay Feather now looking for something in this mid lane. Haywan's joined the party, but Wayne is here. Encore's gonna hit onto 2 as Bravo is trumped under the tower. It's a lot of damage coming back, and the Golden Eclipse finds 1. Now the Cataclysm coming in. Young Callie trying to make his presence known in the play. A root comes down as Haywan flashing forward, trying to find Astro Boy, and will not put the Dawning Shadow over the top. Will. It's a 1-4-2 so far here as Gojo's Gym evens up the score.
Yeah, nice. Nice fight actually back and forth for both of these teams, utilizing that Senna ultimate also for Dilly across the Rift to help pick up that last kill onto Astro Boy. But I just feel like overall at the beginning that was definitely an overset by Bravo to be that far under the turret. Rakan not nearly tanky enough to be able to withstand that number of shots. So all in all, it is still under a 1,000 gold lead. Very, very close game that we have here in game 1. But the 2 dragon lead and as well as the turret is kind of the biggest thing that I'm looking at here for Gojo's Gym. They're definitely in position to be able to have control over the map and continue to take these dragons. So that's something that Final Boss Zenith is definitely going to want to start to contest in a little over 3 minutes here when this next dragon is up. Not the strongest dragon soul with the cloud, but they'll definitely take it over here for Gojo's Gym if they can get it.
Oh man. Whoa. Okay. Hoodie Chris got rooted up there. I wasn't sure if that was going to be detrimental, but dealing so much damage onto Dilly. Is now Haywan trying to find Young Callie in the top lane. Cyclone's not available, so this is just a little, hey, how you doing?
Yeah. That headshot from Caitlyn did a ridiculous amount of damage, it felt like. So, I mean,
Yeah.
definitely something to watch. This mid game is when Caitlyn gets super, super strong. She's picked up that additional BF sword. I'm not sure if she's just going to be going straight into the Infinity Edge after this. It's a very squishy team, overall, especially with the Garen just building full AD at this point. Probably going to go into the Phantom Dancer next, I would assume.
Oh.
Garen could be in
Flag
trouble.
Drag goes wide. Murphy's running for the hills here. The Cataclysm is available. Murphy has flash, but Frosty decides to retreat and not go for it there. But Hoodie Chris, they might have found him here. The knockups are coming through. Dawning Shadow over the top, and Bravo finds the last hit. A nice kill on to the Gojo's AD carry.
Yeah, and something that I guess we missed a little bit here that should definitely be mentioned with how much we've been talking about these bot lanes is Dilly is a sub in this game for Final Boss Zenith, so it is one of the regular subs on their roster, but it's not the it's not the typical it's not the typical AD carry. Normally we see resilient for final boss Zenith. So we've got kind of this PowerPoint for Gojo's Gym coming in Hoodie Chris, really trying to take advantage of the substitute bot laner here for final boss Zenith, who has definitely been involved in the fights and has been decent, but we saw in the lane phase how much Gojo's Gym took control and has been able to try to manipulate the map since then. But Final Boss Zenith has taken a lot more control since that time. They do have now the gold lead, very, very slight gold lead at this point. But it is theirs, and 1 more minute again until this next dragon, which is the point where I would expect that Final Boss Zenith does want to try to make a stand and stop this stacking from Gojo's Gym if they possibly can.
Gojo's Gym being able to take that bottom lane tier 1 tower is really important because you're able to move Hoodie Chris into the mid lane. It is a little bit more scary, like we saw, Haywan able to get in and there's a lot more angles to gank from in the mid lane. But if you do have the backups there, if you're able to take down that mid lane tier 1 as well, it just opens the map so much for the team here. And, like you mentioned earlier, dragon spawning in 20 seconds here. Everyone is down on this side, this bot side of the map, aside from the top laners who both have teleports. Flashes all around are available here. So we got all 10 for this dragon fight as the Herald's going to be spawned up mid lane. Gojo's Gym trying to get some of this mid lane priority so they can walk into the dragon pit, but Murphy is on the flank here. Here we go, the quickness coming in. It's a big charm coming through as Murphy finds Hoodie Chris win under the towers, taking pretty low as a double kill now comes through for Murphy, but Young Cali, what can he do on the backside? Murphy really low here as the Golden Eclipse gonna find the last hit there, but it's a 2-for-1 in favor of final boss Zenith. Nice job there also by J Feather to block the Rift Herald charge.
Yeah, that was amazing by J Feather, using the Anivia wall. That's tech that I have not seen in the past. So shout out to her for that play. But yeah, overall, I mean, this is definitely final boss being able to take control of this map a little bit more with that fight, and now you can see them taking down that dragon, so they do stop the stacking at least for now. And we had talked about this earlier in the game, but it's about trying to find, or I think in the champ select, about trying to find good angles for Jarvan's ultimate that will actually make a bigger difference in these team fights. That time they just used it to trap Murphy under the turret, and he did end up dying, but that is not necessarily the biggest priority. One thing to take away from this as well is that Murphy is now 3-1-0, so getting a lot stronger in the side lane, does have the Phantom Dancer completed, and regardless of the Scion, later on he could definitely become a significant split push threat, especially if the Scion is off helping the rest of the team, which is really where he would like to be, rather than the side lane trying to defend against this Garen. So it looks like there's just one more plate left on that top lane turret. Scion using ultimate to get up into that lane, but it doesn't actually matter because Murphy will claim the tier 1 turret in the top lane and extend the lead just a little bit further here for final boss Zenith.
Murphy now sitting at a 600 or 1600 individual gold lead over Young Cali. So this Garen is becoming a problem here. Hoodie Chris rooted up in that mid lane, but no further aggression coming in here. I think we might have a little lull in the action as we kind of wait for these next couple plays to happen. Haywan has been pretty aggressive, especially looking for Hoodie Chris. So we'll see now as Murphy is in trouble. 2 ultimates going to be used to try and take down this Garen as the damage comes through, and the headshot from Hoodie Chris finds the last hit there. That's going to be a lot of gold coming back for Gojo's Gym, and now Young Cali has joined the party. What can Gojo's Gym find with that early pick? Looks like nothing there, as they're going to be left with only the blood of the enemy top laner.
Yeah, it's too bad that Young Cali did not have that Scion ultimate that he had used to get up into the top lane, because if he did, it probably would have allowed Gojo's Gym to continue extending that fight. But as it stands, they do just pick up that 1 kill, and they try to, hit onto this mid lane turret, but it's actually now Gojo's Gym's mid lane turret that is under more trouble. And we kind of talked about how it theoretically should have netted Gojo's Gym a big advantage to get the Caitlyn into the mid lane early, but between a couple of factors, one of which being the Senna has static Shiv, so it makes it a lot easier for her to clear these waves out. She has not had trouble matching the wave clear of the Caitlyn, but also Anivia and just does such a nice job. Typically, she would, your mid laner going down bot with the outer turret being down would be really, really vulnerable, but Anivia just does such a nice job of being able to quickly clear out those waves and get herself to safety, also as the additional added insurance of that egg passive as well. So it just really didn't become the issue that it should have for Final Boss Zenith, and they will be the first one to break the mid lane open there, as you can see, taking down that mid lane turret. Yeah, we'll see how they move from here.
Final Boss Zenith now has the 1,000 gold lead in this game as we approach the 21-minute mark. Dragon in a minute and a half here, as a lot of members are going down into this bottom lane to try and set up the play. Again, we'll have all 10 flashes up for this next Dragon play. It seems like that's happening a lot, is that everyone just has flash.
Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of like random action as far as like skirmishes, so I feel like it's meant that it's only about every 5 minutes when these dragons do come up or in preparation for it that we've seen the larger team fights so far. So it just means that everybody's just been able to hold their summoner spells for those points. Yeah, I mean, and it's all about, I guess, who's able to get the more effective engages onto the enemy carries, because neither of these team compositions is nearly as good at being reactive. I would say Final Bosses is probably the better one out of the two. But for Gojo's Gym, I mean, they would really like to be the first ones jumping in and starting things off, but they need to have the Scion and the Jarvan together, because otherwise Jarvan by himself is just going to get, blown up. So it's going to be about, for me, how the top laner and jungler from Gojo's Gym can coordinate to make a difference in these team fights. Young Kali does have the teleport available, both top laners teleport available, but Murphy's already here.
Oh man, Hoodie Chris is so dangerous right now. Mid lane priority going over to Final Boss Zenith. Here's the teleport's going to come in. Young Kali's going to join the party. The dragon has spawned, so we will be working our way into this bottom side river here. 2 items on pretty much everyone in this game. The top lane is a little bit further on, but the dragon has been started up. 5,000 HP. We'll see. Young Kali trying to posture up as Jay Feather's on the side, but does have the fully stacked Rod of the Ages and the Malignance. That's a lot of damage. Murphy also needs to be scouted out here as Haywan going in with the cycle and the quickness. Encore's going to hit onto 2, and that's a lot of damage now coming in as Astro Boy's going to find Bravo. Murphy on the backside trying to deal the damage onto Hoodie Chris, but Hoodie Chris is alive for the time being. Flag and Jack's going to find the knockup as well, and Murphy goes down. This fight looks really good for Gojo's Gym. The Dragon goes over to Final Boss Zenith, but what can Gojo's Gym get here? 3 kills for the time being. Probably this mid lane tier 1 as well.
Yeah, the team does an excellent job of trading back around Hoodie Chris. And yeah, like you said, right, Chains, it does look like they want to go straight over to the Baron, take advantage of these Death Timers. 4 seconds on Bravo, but it's still, much longer timers here for the more relevant members as far as being able to contest this. And I don't think that Dilly or Jay Feather feel confident enough to step into the fog of war to be able to do anything about the Baron. So it will be the Dragon going over to Final Boss Zenith, but the Baron in return, and you got to be happy with that result if you're Gojo's Gym.
Absolutely, a big swing for them. Now they have the gold lead back at about 1.5K. So you give the Dragon, you get 3 kills and the Baron, and now for Gojo's Gym, they're wearing purple, and that's a color that Gojo likes.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see a little bit of the weakness of why Garen is not often picked in competitive play, because he's ahead on the Murphy is ahead on this pick. Certainly not, it didn't seem like having any major misplays in that fight, but all he can really do is just run face first towards the AD carry, which works out great if the rest of the team does not kite, but and Peel for the AD carry. But in this case, Hoodie Chris was, I'm sure, calling for his team to help him out there against the Garen, and they did just that, which allowed the team fight to be opened up then from that point forward from Gojo's gym. So good on Murphy to obviously be grouping in the situation where they needed their top laner to group, but the utility of this Garen, I think, comes a lot more in either the 1v1s or also the split push possibilities than anything else. But I mean, you can see that he doesn't really have a huge 1v1 advantage into this Scion. It's not like he's able to abuse that long lane against him by any means at this point in the game. He just doesn't have what it would take to cut through the tankiness. He's got more of a build that, again, is intended to one-shot the enemy AD carry instead.
And I think Hoodie Chris, with the Ghost Summoner spell that we talked about in the early stages of this game, we're seeing how much it actually mattered. Able to kite away from the Garen. Garen's a fast champion.
He is. He's going to be even faster in a little bit here. He's got the he's going to have the, oh my goodness, I cannot remember the name of it. My
Dead
brain
Man's
is not tonight, but he's going to have the Dead Man's, exactly. He's going to have speed boost items soon. So will be even faster, at least, when he's on his way. Now he's got it completed. But he's going to be possibly in trouble right now.
Oh man, 4 members into this top lane here. The last tier 1 remaining for Gojo's gym to take here is the Unstoppable Onslaught. Gonna get dodged out, but now Murphy gonna get rooted up under the tower. Dawning Shadow is gonna give it a little bit of a shield, but the Cataclysm should be enough to do it. Frosty's gonna find a kill there, and Gojo's gonna pick up their last outer tower remaining on the map here. And they're looking good right now. Gonna continue moving up into this lane here. Astro Boy still on the bottom side, has the TP available, and Bravo and Haywan on the side might look for something, but Haywan gets caught. Flag and Drag Knockup's gonna find it, as now the teleport's coming in from Astro Boy. Frosty does not have the Cataclysm to continue forward. But with that TP, 5 members strong in this top side, I don't think they're gonna be able to do anything. They're just gonna have to back up, and that's it, I guess.
Yeah, not wanting to overstep their advantage there. It is kind of a waste of the it is a waste of the teleport. Not kind of, by Astro Boy, but not necessarily the hugest loss, because Mel is typically not going to be the one, all the way on the other side of the map when there's a major team fight breaking out, like there may be around this dragon that will be coming up in not too long. And you could see during that dive earlier how tanky young Callie is, despite being down in the individual matchup, has just been able to, get enough of these tank items that he could be tanking that turret all day long. Was not an issue for them to find enough damage to take down Murphy. And so final boss seems like they're kind of the first one here around the dragon to have wards set up, but certainly Gojo's gym will have something to say about it as they start to approach Haywan, though. I mean, this Caitlyn is still really strong.
Oh, my goodness, forward onto Hoodie Chris, but nothing there. And Haywan's going to get chunked out pretty hard. Hoodie Chris to about 2/3 HP, as young Callie is going to face check in. Take a little bit of damage, but that ain't nothing to this Scion. As Gojo's gym comes into this bottom side, gains the priority on the dragon here. Young Callie's going to burn the flash. The dragon now started up. What can final boss Zenith do here with the disadvantage that they're at? Haywan now into the pit, 4,000. The Unstoppable Onslaught's gonna get blocked out by the wall, but they turn their sights onto Haywan. Haywan goes down, jungler dead for final boss Zenith. Is now Murphy flashing into the backline. The CC is there, it is enough. 2 gonna get caught in the Cataclysm as Bravo goes down. The rest of the team running for the hills is Dilly and J-Feather, their last remaining members. Frosty's gonna go over the wall. Wayne flashing forward, does not hit on the beat drop, but dragon goes over to Gojo, +3 for 1 in their favor.
Yeah, these team fights continue to look better and better for Gojo's gym, and they've been doing a really nice job of using that Cataclysm. I mean, we expected them to be using it more for Engage, or I did at least, but they're actually using it to peel for Hoodie Chris, and been doing a great job of doing that. Both him and Astro Boy just raining down the damage onto the enemy champions. And one of the common denominators we've seen in this fight is that Jayfeather and Dilly both able to stay alive up until the end. Both of them actually deathless in this series far. But it doesn't really matter if you're the last two alive, because at that point, there's nothing that Jayfeather and Dilly are able to do. So, do we get to a certain point where I don't know where that damage is able to break through from the carries of Final Boss, possibly, but it just seems like the range and the way that they've been able to manipulate the space for Gojo's gym to create more area in between their carries and the enemies has been very, very influential in these fights, and has been a big part of why Hoodie Chris and Astro Boy have been the ones that have been more successful.
The carries for Gojo's gym playing so well in this game, and as they go on to Haywan here, Charm's gonna find one. Unstoppable Onslaught's gonna get K1 out of the fight as Hoodie Chris dealing so much damage to Bravo. Golden Eclipse is gonna find one as now Murphy in the Cataclysm. Double kill comes through for Astro Boy. 3 for 0 in favor of Gojo's gym. They turn their sights back onto the Baron, and this should be pretty free here. I mean, Jayfeather and Dilly, the last two remaining members, but there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, the front line, once again, is the first ones in position for Gojo's gym. Young Callie and Frosty, both in exactly the spot where they need to be in order to, start these fights off and, again, isolate the enemy carries so that they're not able to do the damage that they need to do. And now the gold lead has expanded to over 5,000 gold here, or about 5,000 gold, I guess, for Gojo's gym. They have the Baron, and we'll see how they're able to use that as far as sieging, again, getting Caitlyn and Mel both into the position that they love to be in, which is, using their range, sieging into the enemy team composition. And it looks like they'll start this down in the bot lane as they push here.
5 members strong for Gojo's gym in this bottom lane, wearing purple. And it's going to be so hard for Final Boss Zenith to defend this siege with the Caitlyn and the Mel and the Seraphine. There's just so much flying at you from all sides. 2 Baroned up cannon minions as well. 3 now. Make it a third. The 3 Musketeers in this bottom lane. Young Callie did opt to go mid, but I mean, this is just so hard. They can't really walk up at all. Otherwise, they're gonna take so much damage. And this tower is just gonna slowly chip down here. This Gojo's not really in any rush. They said, all right, sure. You want to sit here and defend? We can take our time with it. That tier 2 will fall eventually. Jayfeather now working her way down into this bottom side, but all for naught. As has to go back mid, and this 4-1 for Gojo's gym. Slow and steady wins the race. They're in no rush here. Still have the Baron for a little bit longer, about a minute left on the Baron.
Yeah, Jayfeather finally joining back down here, which means that the mid lane is going to be pushed in by Sion. I don't know that if they'll be able to transition over there or not, but it certainly sets up a great situation.
Astro Boy could be caught here. Flash forward with the quickness. Is going to find the shutdown now as the Encore is going to find Murphy rooted up. I don't know if they have anything for this Garen, even though he is not the strongest right now, but it's a 1 for 0. The mid laner picked for Gojo's gym. And the Dragon, like we mentioned earlier, about to spawn here. 4v5 in favor of Final Boss Zenith. Teleport's coming back in for Jayfeather. I think if you're Gojo's gym, you just give this one. Not the end of the world if they're able to pick up 1 tower, and you don't want to throw the game. Or sorry, 1 dragon. Yeah. You don't want to throw the game just for a random dragon here. Oh, Bravo almost got 1 shot as the wall is going to make Frosty in a rough spot here. Does have the Guardian Angel. Will not get it popped yet as Jayfeather working, trying to find it. Going to get rooted up. Dragon at 3,000. Frosty looking for an angle. 2,000 now going in. Does he have it? He does have the steal. The Cataclysm's gonna find 2 as Hoodie Chris is free in the backline, flashing forward. Haywan gonna try and find the kill, but the exhaust is gonna be dealing so much, doing so much to keep the Kaylin alive. Haywan running for the hills, taken quite low as Hoodie Chris lives the whole time. Astro Boy has joined the party as well here, as now we're gonna be TPing into this mid lane. 3 for 0 and the dragon for Gojo's gym, and they're looking to take these towers bot or mid as Dilly. They want the perfect KD gone. Wayne will make sure that is the case. 4 members down for Final Boss Zenith, and they are on to the mid lane inhibitor. This should be it, I think, for Gojo's gym as they're pushing down mid.
Yeah, they're looking for potentially the end here. It looks like there's a little bit of a split call because some of them were still hitting the bottom lane inhibitor turret. So instead, they're not going to try to go for the end. They are just going to take the 2 inhibitors. I guess the Anivia does have, you know, really easy ability to clear out these minions that no longer have the Baron. I would have liked Gojo's gym to try to put the final nail in the coffin there. They probably could have forced it, it feels like, but instead, you know, as they've kind of done throughout this game, they have seen enough failure so far in CCS. They would really prefer to just make sure that they're able to close this one out cleanly because they are clearly in the stronger position here. 8,000 gold up. Finally got that kill that they were looking for onto Dilly in that last fight. J-Feather still remaining deathless. I don't even know if the Anivia has gone into egg yet this game.
I don't think so.
It doesn't seem to be that big of an issue here for Gojo's gym. Still have been able to get it done in these fights. Very, very impressive the way that they navigated that last fight at the Dragon. Even down their mid laner, they were able to stall for enough time that Astro Boy was able to TP back in and join. Obviously, that huge Dragon steal from Frosty as well, getting in there at the last moment to make that happen. And so final boss. And we did get the 1 egg on Anivia, but still not deathless. Thanks to our production for that information. But yeah,
big shout out.
The siege here, hopefully for Gojo's gym, they're hoping that this is the final siege coming up.
Baron spawning in 30 seconds once again. It's gonna be all Gojo, I think, here. What can J-Feather do in these team fights? It's gonna be you know, it's got to be a hero play from the Anivia. Oh, man, look at this bush camp. This could be brutal if someone walks in here. This young Callie behind enemy lines. Here we go. Illy is the target. Wall is going to buy some time and dispel any further aggression, but the Baron spawn, final boss, pushed out completely and no vision on this Baron. They know it's going down, but there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, they use their 1 blue trinket, but it's going down so fast.
Oh, man. They're going to try. TP is coming in. Baron goes over. As young Callie in the front lines. Haywan over the side. What can the Wukong find? Young Callie's taking some chip, but nothing too bad. I think that Gojo's gym is fine to just walk to the top lane. Look at the super minions on the Nexus towers right now. With this Baron buff, going to try and just break that last remaining lane for Final Boss Zenith in their base. J-Feather is strong, still strong on this Anivia, almost full build. But what can the Anivia do when you're outranged like this?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it just takes so long for Anivia. She's not a champion that's going to ever be able to one-shot anybody. So just need to try to find some kind of engage, especially with this Wukong ultimate along with the Rakan, to be able to keep people in the Anivia R as long as possible, which is not something that they've, you know, found an angle to do so far in this game. But you can see how good of a job this Anivia does at just being able to stall out the game, because even with the Baron empowered minions, with that additional magic resistance, she still is clearing them out with relative ease. The wall as well has been very annoying in a variety of circumstances for Gojo's gym this game.
Frosty's about to get his GA back up. I think once it comes up, he's gonna send it. All right, GA is back up now. Young Callie in this mid lane, buffing up the mid lane minions. 2 supers in the bottom lane here, as now I think this top inhibitor will crack. Final Boss Zenith turtling back to their Nexus towers. What can they do here as 3 waves strong coming in? I don't know. Frosty with the flag forward. Oh, Halo with a huge engage over the top. Do they have the damage to take down anyone? The quickness is huge as well. As Wayne is sinking really low. Hey1, the flashing. No, Murphy, sorry, flashing in the backline to find Hoodie Chris, and that's pretty big. But I don't know if it's enough. Dilly is their last remaining. Remember having to flash away. As Frosty going back in further, J-Feather running for the hills, dealing so much damage with the Anivia, but the first Nexus Tower falls. Murphy and J-Feather trying to battle it off here. The second Nexus Tower falls as well, as Frosty's taken pretty low. Does have the GA, so will come back to life, but the Nexus is under siege. One more auto should be enough to do it, and Gojo's Gym takes game 1.
Yeah, took them long enough here, but Gojo's Gym, they finally finish out game number 1. Just needed all those minions with the Baron buff as well to make it into the base. Just finally became too much, despite Anivia almost reaching that 400 CS mark here. We're not able to finish it out. So GG's to Gojo's Gym. First step in this best of 3 series complete.
Gojo's Gym takes game number 1 here as the winning team is coming. They're loading in. No problem. We'll get there.
There they are.
There they are. Now we're good.
Jarvan.
Short King Jarvan. That's what we like to see, baby. Gojo's Gym takes game number 1. We're going to throw it to a quick break, but we'll be back for the pick in the ban for game number 2 to see if Gojo's Gym can close it out in 2-0 fashion or if we'll have a game 3. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And we are back for the pick in the ban of game number 2 between Gojo's Gym and Final Boss Zenith. Gojo's Gym taking game number 1 in, I would say, pretty committing fashion towards the end there. Able to build up a pretty nice lead for themselves here, but we are flying through the bans. Alawi, Diana, Mordekaiser taken off the table by Gojo's Gym. Hecarim, Jax, and Tristana off the table now for Final Boss Zenith. And an instant first pick of the Ornn for young Callie in the top lane.
All right. I mean, hey, the tank top lane definitely went well last game, I would say, for Gojo's Gym. So it makes sense to, lock in their priority there. Also, it didn't seem like, oh, I was gonna say it didn't seem like Murphy had a great counter pick into tanks, but there we go. The Gwen, that is kind of what she does best, is the bread and butter of scaling against these tanks. So I think even more so than the Garen, who doesn't necessarily didn't gain that advantage in the 1v1, but theoretically. The Gwen should get to a point against this Ornn at which it's really really difficult for the Ornn to actually be able to survive and stay in that longer lane once one of the towers has gone down, especially. So excited to see how that lane plays out and if Murphy can make a bigger difference. I mean, he was definitely doing his best, had that lead at a certain point in game number one, but wasn't able to capitalize on that ultimately. In the once we got out of the lane phase. So, okay,
All right.
Camille
So,
support. I
all
bet.
right, and
No guess.
Vigar picked up here. So, yeah, most likely I mean, I don't know. Honestly, it could be orange support even.
It's true.
There's a lot of potential for this Gojo Gym composition so far here. On the other side, though, final boss not opting to save the counter pick for jungle this time. Actually, that was Gojo Gym who did it last time. So okay,
Yep.
no jungle counter pick on red side at least in this
Yep.
game with the Jinzhou locked in, and then Lux is going to be the follow up. So a lot of AP damage on this composition so far for final boss.
Yeah, lots of AP damage, especially depending on what build this Jinzhou decides to go. But of course, they still have their 80 carry left to be selected here, so you would assume that they're going to take something that will add 80 damage into their composition. The reason why I just assumed that this is the Camille support is because that's just something that we've seen a lot more of in high levels of competitive play so far. But obviously, Final Boss is not fully convinced of that, as we are seeing the Alistar ban coming through their support bans on both sides so far. But I would be very surprised if this Camille goes anywhere other than support, because I mean, even if it was not Camille support and it was somehow Camille top lane, then Ornn would be going into the support. So that's why I'm just a little I don't know where else unless it was Ornn jungle, I guess,
Could be Camille jungle.
or Camille jungle, which is something we saw a lot of back in the day, but was just kind of nerfed again and again at a certain point. So it's not something that we see nearly as often now. But yeah, I mean, for Gojo's gym, they've definitely got a lot of backline access either way, no matter what roles this Ornn and Camille are going into. They will be able to find that backline one way or another. Still waiting to see the 80 carry matchup here. And I wouldn't be super surprised if they kept 80 carry for the last pick here, if you are Final Boss, and that is what they're going to do.
Gojo banned Poppy.
Yeah, it's really good against Camille support. Poppy support is like
Mm,
the counter to Camille support because of the W. So that makes sense to me if you do think that, or if you're sending Camille support, it makes a lot of sense to ban Poppy.
yeah. I was just thinking of it straight for Murpy because that's the Murpy
True.
pocket, and I was like, "Wait, what? There's a Gwen picked already. What are we doing?" But
I think that it's, yeah,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
yeah.
Wasn't thinking that far ahead. Just only one step. Viego is going to be the lock in here for the jungle, probably.
Yeah, I
So
mean, hey, it's 2026. We see, you get 5 champions, you could pretty much just roll the dice and send them into any role. It's good to
send him
go.
wherever
We
you
could even
want.
I was gonna say, if I was looking at, it looks like Hoodie Chris really mostly just plays the traditional 80 carries in that role. Otherwise, I would have been more open about where Vagar was going as well, because we've seen a lot of that. That's something too that could be flexed to the bot lane, but it is going to be the Kaisa, presumably again, in that 80 carry spot.
Yeah, I think with now that we see the whole team, I think things make a little more sense. Um, for Gojo Jin, they had a lot of potential flex picks that they could have rocked in this composition. And I think because of that, they have some pretty favorable matchups aside from the Ornn into Gwen. I mean, that one is just cooked, but um, Vigar's a pretty safe lane, feeling good about themselves here. And Lucian is going to be the pick to pair up with Rel in the bottom lane for Dilly and Bravo. A very aggressive early game lane.
Yeah, I also just think that you really needed to pick something that has some kind of movement ability outside of Flash, because otherwise Camille is just able to hit her E for free over and over again. So I was thinking something like the Lucian or Ezreal Lucian coming through. I will be looking for Dilly to kind of, at least in lane, save that E for whenever the hook shot is coming in, because otherwise it's just, a very, very free engage. And Camille, even as a support, likes to build some of those damage items and will quickly become an issue for the enemy AD carry if they're not able to avoid her engages. So I mean, I like this team composition that's coming through from Gojo's gym. Again, with the amount of backline access that they have, they've got a lot of ability to burst individual champions as well with the Veigar, also with the Viego too. So I think it's going to be, the sacrifice in all of this for Gojo's gym is their top lane. And so they're looking for young Kali to do the same thing 2 games in a row, which is just, hold the fort down, withstand the laning phase against Murphy, and get to the point where he provides way more utility to the overall team in the team fight stage.
And one thing I'm seeing from this final boss composition is just kind of what we saw in in game one as well, just a lack of range with, Lucian, who's one of the lower range AD carries. The only real ranged character you have other than that is the Lux. And yeah, Lux has some good range, but everyone else has to be super close to hit in this for this final boss composition. And when you have champions like the Vigar and the Ornn who are really good at space control, it might be hard for final boss to do any damage in this game.
Yeah, we could definitely see that, and that's why, I mean, the cage from Vigar is also going to be one of the most important abilities in this game, because that is what really has the potential to lock final boss, out from being able to get in range, to affect the their team, I guess, in these team fights. So looking at that, from Astro Boy to be one of the more important things here. I guess the one thing from J Feather, like you said, she will have a little bit more ability to affect the backline with Lux, but it's all just about being able to get in position to hit those skill shots, which means it's going to be on mostly Bravo in this one to do the engages. I mean, Haywan will definitely be jumping in there as well, but as far as being able to CC the enemy team, and start those engages up in a way that will allow J Feather to hit those skill shots for free, it's all going to be on Bravo's Rel, which is definitely something we've seen. We've definitely seen Bravo on the Rel here, on the stream in the past. So going to be a lot of importance on the support, from Final Boss Zenith.
Yep, I think this is gonna be a banger. We're gonna have a lot of explosive team fights in this game here, and with that being said, I think we're gonna take a short break to get through this competitive integrity spectator delay, but we will be on to the Rift shortly to see if Gojo Jim can close it out in 2-0 fashion, or if Final Boss Zenith will force a game 3. We'll be right back. And we are on to the Rift for game number 2 between Final Boss Zenith and Gojo's Gym. Switching sides this game, Gojo's Gym on the red side here. Young Cali on Ornn in the top lane. Frosty's Crown on Viego in the jungle. Astro Boy on Viger in the mid lane. And Hoodie Chris and Wayne rounding it out with the Kaisa and the Camille in the bottom lane.
And for Final Boss Zenith, you got Murphy in the top lane on the Gwen, Haywan in the jungle on Jinzhao, J-Feather in the mid lane on Lux, and Dilly and Bravo with the Lucian and Rel bottom lane. Both teams doing what they do, trying to get that early vision into the enemy jungle. Quite a number of wards, actually, it looks like, placed into the jungle of both of these teams early on. So they will be privy to the movements of these junglers, who definitely have a little bit more early gank ability than we saw in the last game. But I think my eyes early on here, Riot Chains, are going to be down into this bot lane where we see multiple combat summoner spells for, I mean, both sides, but particularly for Gojo's gym. They're going to be rocking that exhaust and ignite. So if we get into an all-in scenario, definitely looking to favor Gojo's gym in this one, at least early on. So excited to see if these bot lanes, decide to get into the action early.
Do you want to piss your friends off live on stream? Are you interested in baiting the players or even a coach? Through pure CCS ingenuity, we've made that possible. For just 100,000 channel points, you can get your message shown live on screen mid-game, LCS style. Want to bait even more people? CCS subscribers get 1 free bait a month. 1 rage bait per game, first come, first serve, so get in there quick. No carryover per month either. This is not your PTO program. You got to use it or lose it. Hit up Flare Redacted or any CCS mod for questions and requests. I believe we have a sample. Oh man, a lot of damage coming in from Dilly and Bravo in that bottom lane. No, all right, no sample. Technical difficulties. That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, early on here. Oh,
ooh, okay, Wayne looking for something here, going forward onto Bravo. Bravo's taking pretty low as the early heal now will be utilized. Young Callie and Murphy scrapping in the top lane. Both of these junglers onto the bottom side as well.
Yeah, I mean, this early lane is still really good for Ornn. I mean, Ornn just has really good base damages, so it's not surprising to see that.
Ooh, little fight here. Bravo's gonna have to flash away. A lot's happening all over the map right now. As Final Boss just has to run away. I think they got the crab in that play. They did. They got the crab, but having to burn the Bravo flash, and they did get Wayne's flash, so maybe even trade there.
Yeah, I mean, as we noted, just the nature of these supports going to be really, really aggressive early on. As you can see now, young Callie, he did use up all of his mana. It is pretty low at this point. Getting a gank.
Frosty's in the building now as young Callie diving under the tower. Frosty's gonna flash forward and secure the kill there. Both top laners down in a 1-for-1.
Yeah, I mean, just as I talk about how Gwen's, might not fare as well as you might think early, she is able to pick up that first blood at the point where Murphy knew he was going to be dead either way to Frosty, and was able to get the damage off. And here's our sample. Rage bait redeemed here. Happy Pride Month. Courtesy of Squirt McFarts. Which great name. Yeah, that's certainly certainly a rage bait for some. For me, just a joyous occasion, obviously. But yeah, we definitely have more early action though in this one in comparison to the first game already.
Absolutely. I mean, we already have kills. We're not even 5 minutes in. So a little more action, like you mentioned here. Young Callie just going after it. But Haywan's now in this top lane. Young Callie knows some's gonna get knocked up. The scissors are snipping. The spears are poking. Who's gonna get the kill? I think they're gonna give it to Murphy. There we go. And Murphy finds a second kill of the game.
Yeah, so this is going to become a problem that Gojo's gym did not have in game number 1, because Gwen already picking up multiple kills will get to a point against this Ornn where it's very, very difficult for Ornn to remain in the lane, especially once the lane becomes longer and that first turret goes down, which we are quite a ways away from at this point. But early Dragon being started up here from Gojo's gym.
Hookshot goes wide, but still numbers advantage here. Oh, Bravo's gonna get caught in the cage. We'll see if they have damage to go. Just gonna get chunked to about half. and crash down away. But early dragon going over to Gojo's gym, and this seems like something that they really prioritize in this new iteration of Gojo's gym.
Yeah, it certainly does. Definitely playing towards the bot side, which makes sense too when you've got this Ornn, and you know, I guess if you could name a positive to the Ornn going down in this game early, it would just be that you're never playing this Ornn to be able to be dominant in the lane phase or in this particular one-to-one matchup. It's about what he's going to bring to the team fights later on, but it doesn't change that it's definitely going to become an issue for Murphy being this strong in the side lanes as this game goes on.
Yeah, and young Callie is not backing down. I mean, still, you know, aggressing with these trades.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is, and that's why. I mean, it's about the longer term fights here, like this one.
Heywan is here, but okay, check the map. Frosty and Wayne are on the way. Gonna find the knock up onto one here as the Ornn horn gets sounded, but the boys are here. It's not enough though as Callie goes down. Murphy flashing away to safety. Bravo's in the area as well here, and Frosty's gonna get stunned and taken down. Wayne, the last member standing, as Murphy is just dangling the bait in front of them. A double kill for Heywan and destruction in the top lane for Final Boss.
That went as well as it could for Final Boss. Zenith not only picking up that first kill on Ornn before he's able to get the reactivation on his ultimate, but also keeping Murphy alive. Just a really, really well-timed roam there from Bravo to be able to match up there. But did they stay too long in the enemy jungle?
Heal burned by Bravo as Jfeather picks up a mid plate, and that escort should be able to get the rest of Final Boss Zenith out, but a 2.2k gold lead as we approach the 8-minute mark in this game here. Final Boss in a way better spot than they were in game number 1.
Yeah, definitely in a much better spot early, you know, a bigger gold lead than we saw for either team for quite a while in that first game already, like you said, with that 2k gold lead here picked up for Final Boss Zenith. And they will just be able to, you know, continue rocking and rolling here. They're going to be able to pick up all of the grubs to help assist them with their sieging. I mean, we do have to think about, though, the scaling in this game as well. Even with Gojo's gym being behind, they do have really strong scaling, you know, in both of their major carries, Kai'Sa and Veigar, and then also Frosty will be pretty strong scaling as well, and it'll all be assisted by those ornaments that will come in. Not for quite a while yet. They got to get to that point still, but they don't necessarily have to be too worried about falling behind in the early game as long as they can kind of stymie the bleeding as this, you know, as we get into sort of the mid-game portion. They cannot continue to be taking as many deaths as they did. If they do, then they're just going to be totally out of it. But if they can continue to scale, they will still be competitive, and you know, particularly the Veigar will be able to take down an individual member of the enemy team if he's in range, just kind of being able to pick one of them with that ultimate once he gets enough stacks.
Taking a look at the gold lead in this game, we did mention it was about 2k. You know, that's in the obvious places, right? Murphy and Heywan both have gold leads for themselves here. Small gold lead in the mid lane for Jfeather as well here, but nothing to write home about necessarily. You know, still about even in that mid lane, but Final Boss Zenith looking good here, especially on this top side, and that was where they, you know, opted to put this counter pick in the champion select. So good to see some shots go down for them.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now things have quieted down a little bit. We do see that this next dragon is about to be up, though, and both Jfeather and Heywan getting ready here.
Big play into this bottom side as Dilly is taken pretty low. The exhaust is there, and it's enough to take him down, as now Bravo is the target. Gonna flash out to safety as Heywan and Jfeather are now in the building. Hoodie Chris going forward even further as Heywan diving into the backlines. Wayne is taken pretty low here as will fall. Heywan now flashing, or Hoodie flashing in as finds the shutdown. A double kill now for Hoodie Chris, as they continue forward onto Jay for their last member
Oh,
standing. Final spark is not enough to take down Hoodie Chris, and a triple kill for the Kaisa. Mom, get the camera as Gojo's gym brings it back.
yeah, mom, get the camera. Indeed, Hoodie Chris 4-0-0 after that engagement, picking up his first item and more after that one. And the dragon is just the cherry on top here for Gojo's gym. And we talked about, the strength, the potential strength of the Viego, and Frosty was showing that in that fight, able to pick up.
Astro Boy running for the hills here. Wind becomes lightning, gets the dash for Haywan in, rooted up, taking low, but will be a 1-for-1 for the time being. As now Frosty picks up Haywan, goes crazy. A double kill for J Feather, but falls eventually here. And this Viego's starting to become a problem too.
Yeah, definitely going to be a big problem. And one of the things too about Viego in this game is he's got a lot of souls that are great to take. Obviously, the Rel, also the Jinzhao are both really, really good forms for him to be able to take when they go down. Even the Lux as well. He you could see not necessarily a Lux player, probably Frosty, based on the Q that he threw out there, but anybody who has CC abilities, or gap close abilities that you're able to take as Viego, super, super powerful. Again, especially those engaged supports. Speaking of engaged supports.
Bravo is just so deep right now, just getting caught out of the enemy jungle. That was crazy.
Yeah, not sure what he was trying to get done. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but he was also... Yeah, normally earlier in the game, we've seen him traveling around with Haywan, which has been very effective, but there it's just kind of alone.
Oh man, Haywan looking at Frosty here, aggressing pretty deep. Does he have the damage here? Is Frosty turning it back? Crescent Guard is not going to be enough and will go 1-for-1. But the blue buff also, not taken away. Frosty was able to pick up that blue buff as well.
I mean, I actually feel pretty good about that 1v1 if I'm Viego. I mean, Viego really, really easily, really needs multiple items. I mean, in order to become truly, truly effective in this game, is going to be working on the Collector, presumably next year, which he's almost to.
Oh, man. Hextech Ultimatum onto Bravo. Oh, my gosh. The Magnet Storm plus Final Spark damage was huge from J Feather. And a double kill comes through for Dilly. And this Lucian now online for himself.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about in Champion Select how important Bravo's engage would be to this game, and you can see how powerful it is when they're able to sync that up with the Lux Ultimate, as Murphy was trying to just take down that turret. Thought he could maybe just do it even with young Callie beating him up, but was not able to finish it off. But it's only a matter of time now until this Gwen will be able to finish the turret, probably picking up a little bit of the honey fruit in the river there. And is going to be coming right back up into the lane.
And man, Hoodie Chris 4-0 right now on the Kaisa. Voidseeker connects with the Killer Instinct. And Dilly goes down. No, Dilly loses 1 HP. The culling.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, you still, even though you can see how dangerous Hoodie Chris is on this Kaisa, and really no fear. Just using that Killer Instinct to go into the backline, right into the face of Bravo and Dilly, not worried about it whatsoever. But Haywan gonna get interrupted.
Haywan gonna get caught here potentially. Oh, wait a minute, maybe Wayne is caught, and it's gonna be a 1-for-1 once again. Feels like there's a lot of 1-for-1s in this game.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Camille's support is all she ever does is just dive into the enemy team, and she's a support. So she's
Bravo aggressed on again. Frosty is a menace right now.
Yeah, I mean, he really is all around. But yeah, I mean, Camille's support is just still dealing, or is just going to be building damage. And so I feel like it's pretty much to be expected for her to die, up to about 10 times a game.
Oh.
And yeah, here comes this long lane that we talked about.
Needlework's available, but Murphy not going to use it, interestingly enough. I'm just going to get the flash out of young Callie. I thought maybe that should have been a pretty easy kill, but...
Yeah, definitely would have helped him to gap close in. So surprised to not see him use that, but also definitely has experienced the enemy team happening to be there at those moments where he went forward. So maybe being a little bit paranoid about Frosty potentially being in the area. Not sure if they had sights on where he was. And so Gojo's gym did. Oh,
Oh no, hookshot misses. But here we go, fight coming in. Haywan is taking low, so much damage
oh
as
no.
Frosty goes down as well. This looks disastrous for Gojo's gym. Young Callie with the TP in, but it's 5v3. I don't think those are numbers you want if you're Gojo's gym here. With this dragon spawning, final boss should be able to pick this up no problem.
Yeah, they just have to give that one up. And I mean, Lux's damage is also getting to be a bit of a problem here. We've seen how dangerous she has been able to be, even just 1E, doing a ton of damage to Hoodie Chris. And yeah, that is not what you want to see as far as the initial engage from Wayne, missing the hook shot, able to stay alive for longer than we would have originally anticipated, but ultimately does end up going down. And I think that the member that I'm looking at here to
Oh my. Hoodie Chris looking for something here as the exhaust onto Murphy. Murphy's gonna get stunned up and shut down. Shutdown goes to Hoodie Chris as now Dilly is in trouble. Heartbreaker's gonna move forward, but Crescent Guard plus the flash is enough to get Dilly out to safety.
Yeah, what I was going to say before the infinite fighting continues to break out is just that I think the member that I'm looking at to maybe contribute a little bit more as the game goes on is Astro Boy. Does have, I'm trying to see, like still just only about 3 stacks on the Rod of Ages. So it's going to be a while until he's really able to reach his full potential. But that is something to kind of keep an eye on, because it will reach a point where he's just able to hit R, and the Primordial Burst will do just that, burst out either J Feather or Dilly, presumably, or even Murphy, depending on the scenario of who he's able to hit or what the priority targets are. But that's going to be something to keep an eye on with this Vigar as he continues to stack up his Q as well, gain that additional AP. You can see in the side lane there have been a little bit. So they've made some adjustments as far as the lane assignments, and Astro Boy is going to be the one answering Murphy for now.
Rift Herald's going to be started up here by Gojo's gym, seeing that the Gwen is not in the area, and feeling like they're able to take this down here. It's on Vision. Ooh, and the final spark was close. Win! Oh my goodness, check the PayPal.
I'm telling you, it's just Camille support. Your job is just to go in, but he's doing it a little bit, being a little bit more aggressive than
oh no,
maybe is required.
Astro Boys getting the Grest on. We'll have to burn the flash to get out of that play, but I mean, good job by Astro Boy getting out. That was a bit dubious.
Yeah, it does have to burn the flash, though, so he won't have that one available, not only to keep himself safe, but also, for the potential flash forward R, to finish off one of the enemy carries. Not anything, Baron will be up in another minute. Don't expect that to be started off anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, both of these teams just trying to continue to stack these resources here. I mean, I have noticed J Feather on this Lux really, really dangerous, especially if any CC hits, including that Lux Q as we see it right now. Look at that damage.
Wayne gets one-shotted. Frosty also got one-shotted. I think one auto would have been enough to pop the passive and get the kill onto Viego. But man, J Feather, 9 stacks on the Darkseal now.
Yeah, definitely a great early investment in this case from J Feather, who has died 2 more times than she did in the first game already. But with Lux, especially as the game goes on and on, you're able to just really just only use your abilities, so you're just standing so far back. Again, it makes a lot of sense to invest in that here early, pick up those stacks. We'll see if there comes a point where that gets upgraded to the Medjais or not. But Murphy, Gwen is immune.
Gwen is immune here. We passed the 20-minute mark. Baron, we got to see him slither on to the Rift, make his presence known here. 1.9k gold lead in favor of Final Boss Zenith there. The Dragons 2-1 in favor of Gojo's gym. Another Cloud Soul, as we saw in game number 1. And that's going to be spawning in about 45. So everyone's going to be taking their resets here pretty soon and working their way down into that bottom side of the map. Things to watch in the team fight. Jay Feather. If anyone gets hit by a root, you're getting one shot. This is a scary player here.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
you
wait a
can
minute.
already.
Murphy
What?
down.
Did we even see what happened?
Here we go. We're gonna get to see here. Oh, the hookshot flash. Frosty and Wayne catching Murphy walking down here, and that's gonna be nice, especially with this dragon spawning in 15. Voidstinger hits. Nah, don't do it. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you do notice that Kaisa is already going to pick up the mini Zanyas here. I think that a big part of that is being afraid of this Lux. You need to be able to hit the invulnerability button when that final spark comes through, because otherwise Kaisa will just be one shot. But if Kaisa's not one shot, remember that she's still 5-0 and 0. Ornn probably the only one who can afford to get hit by that Lux Q and not worry about surviving. So it looks like this dragon is just going to go uncontested.
Herald spawned into the mid lane to get the priority here. TP's now coming in. Dragon from Gojo as now Ornhorn is sounded. Magnustorm's going to be flashing on into the back lines as what can Haywan do? Young Cali is down. Bravo taking a 1 HP as well. As Haywan continuing forward, Wayne falls as well here. And that's a 2-for-0 in favor of Final Blast Zenith with the Dragon soul point over to Gojo.
Yeah, they will take the Dragon, but it's going to be, looks like they're going to try to start the Baron in response. Frosty is still alive, but he's all the way on the other side of the map.
Yeah, and I don't know if they can't contest this here. They have no vision on it. They don't want to walk in, and it's so hard to contest onto an objective into Lux because of, the zoning and the danger of walking up.
Yeah, they do just have to give away that Baron. I mean, I would rather see them give it away than die needlessly. They do pick up a turret in the bot lane, it looked like, in response, so at least getting something for themselves. And this does remain a relatively close game, about a 2K gold lead for Final Boss, but that is not too much to be able to overcome, especially as these ornaments have started to come in now. First one, of course, going over to Hoodie Chris. That does provide a little bit of extra gold value that you cannot see, on the gold chart for Gojo's gym. But it's going to be all about, these team fights as we continue to go through here. 3 minutes, of course, until that next dragon, which would potentially be the soul. But again, as we've talked about, it is the Cloud Soul, so not necessarily as big of a game changer as some of the other options that Gojo's gym could potentially have in a different world of RNG here.
It would be really good on Gwen, so
that's true.
Glad to not give it to Gwen at the very least, with the position they're in. But Final Boss Zenith pushing in this top lane. Murphy walking down. No one's even on this side of the map here, so should be able to pick up this tier 2 without any issue. The tier 2 in the top lane falls as well here. Final Boss picking up a lot of this standing gold outside.
Yeah, definitely making good use of this Baron buff here so far. There's not a huge amount of wave clear necessarily, especially for these Baron minions. Vigar going to do his best to try to clear them out. But Kaisa, very, very short range, kind of one of her weaknesses is wave clear in these siege scenarios. But they want to try to break this siege somehow. Frosty potentially trying to look for an angle. It's just going to be tough. Wayne is just so squishy is the problem, is that he is able to go in and get that initial CC, but it's basically just like the initial CC bot, and that's it.
Oof. Doing a stat check-in real quick. 221 for Astro Boy as the mid lane inhibitor tower falls. Looks like the rest of Final Boss Zenith will retreat after that one. They're going to break open the base just slightly and retreat and spend their gold.
Yeah, I mean, they do get quite a bit of value out of that Baron. They are able to break the mid lane inhibitor turret. Not able to actually take the inhibitor down itself, but it does set them up in a good position as far as having this map opened up. They've got way more turrets taken down, four additional, or actually no more than that. I forgot the mid because still
6.
the yeah six more turrets than Gojo's gym. I mean, now on the other hand, if Gojo's gym is able to take a team fight, it means that there's a lot more standing gold left up on the map for them to take, and it would allow them to really easily nullify this gold advantage. But Astro Boy is in a tight spot here.
Has to run, no cage. Has the flash and will use it to get out of that engage from Bravo. So Astro Boy running for the hills again here is into the top lane we go. Murphy is the target. Ornhorn is going to be called. Murphy goes golden, but I think it might just delay the inevitable here as the Hextech ultimatum comes down and Murphy falls as well here. That was a nice play by Gojo's gym. They're going to be able to pick up this tier 1 top lane tower and get a little bit of gold back for themselves here. Bring the lead down to under 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, very, very close overall in this game. It's really more about the specific execution in these team fights, and it's kind of a bummer for Final Boss Zenith that they weren't able to take more with 4 members of Gojo's gym up in that top lane, just weren't in position to siege down into those bottom and mid lanes, but they will be able to get in position and use it as an advantage to pick up that dragon totally uncontested. So, Gojo's gym been sitting on the soul point for quite a while now. They'll have to wait at least one more dragon if they want that to happen here.
27.5 minutes into this game here. The Baron spawning in just over 1. We got 2 shutdowns for Final Boss Zenith, Jay Feather, and Dilly. Feeling pretty strong on this mid and 80 carry combo here. 5-0 on Hoodie Chris with no shutdown is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible, but respect.
We'll never know the true algorithm, I guess. But yeah, I mean, he hasn't gotten any of those kills in a while. I think that seems to be part of it. At least from my observations. But yeah, I mean, he's further indexing into the AP, as we often see with Kai'Sa, kind of with these hybrid sort of builds. Kai'Sa obviously doing a lot of magic damage with her abilities. On the other side, or with the also checking out the Viego's build here. 3.5, almost 4 items completed. Sometimes I like to just see that straight up Infinity Edge as the 4th item from Viego can definitely go hard, but not going for that build in this particular case for Frosty.
I don't hate it. It's this squishy. Pretty squishy on the enemy team here. And I guess another point for Hoodie Chris does have all 3 abilities upgraded now. So something to keep in mind here is posturing around this Baron. The Void Seekers are flying. Top laners in the bottom lane here as Haywan looking for something. Wind becomes lightning, going on to Frosty here as the teleports now come in. They've turned their sights onto Haywan. The Crescent Guard is going to buy some time as Hectic Ultimatum comes down here. Magnus Storm as Bravo goes into the back line, but the GA is going to be popped. Hoodie Chris goes golden, but it's only going to delay the inevitable as a double kill comes through for Dilly. Now what can the Ornhorn do? No one answers as it is disaster for Gojo's gym. It's a 4-for-0 at the moment. Make it a 5-for-0 quadra kill for Dilly. And Final Boss Zenith is going to be pushing down this top lane looking for the Nexus.
Yeah, they should be able to end it here. They've got the wave here in the top lane. Going to be able to take down that turret really quickly. And it should be Final Boss Zenith sending us to game number 3. They still want to keep their fate in their own hands here. A series win would just mean that they're one more series away from locking in the lower bracket. And they are going to put us to that penultimate game in the series, game number 3.
Final Boss Zenith, a strong performance in game number 2. Pretty much all around. I think everyone was feeling pretty good in that game and able to force that game number 3. We will take a short break. But we'll be back shortly for that ultimate deciding game number 3. So don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. are back for the pick and the ban of game number 3, the decider between Final Boss Zenith and Gojo's Gym, back on the sides that we were on for game number 1 here. Final Boss on the blue side, Gojo's Gym on the red side. Hecarim, Alawi, the first 2 casualties in this game 3 draft.
Yeah, probably sticking pretty similar to the bands that we've seen before, although Trundle is definitely a new one coming in here. So teams making a little bit of adjustments. And that game number 2, Rye Chains, ended a lot quicker than we expected it to. We were very, very close. It felt like until we weren't in that last team fight for Final Boss Zenith, really putting it all together. And Tristana was definitely one of the bands earlier in this series left open this time, so they are going to pick that one up right away. Yeah, I mean, Tristana is not a pick that I feel like we see a lot of right now, so I'm interested to see where that one goes, if it's a mid lane pick or if it's for the AD carry role. Of course, traditionally AD carry, but we've seen it in the mid lane as well. But especially as the picks start to thin out here, that's the options become more attractive that maybe traditionally would not be the case.
Yeah, Tristana is one of those super aggressive early game AD carries, kind of similar to the Lucian that Dilly was on in game number 2, where you can just jump in and deal a lot of damage very quick. You have a lot of burst here, and because of that, you can see Gojo's Gym opting for the Sivir and the Braum, so a little bit safer in that bottom lane and able to scale quite well. Sivir, one of those champions who's known for doing so much damage later into the game when you can get those bouncing blades hitting off of everyone in the team fight.
Yeah, and we've seen it be really successful here in CCS, in particular. For Sivir, scales really well. Later game team fights, is able to be very strong with the rest of the team. But the Zahen locked in early. That's something that we saw from Murphy be successful last week. So I'm guessing that one's going to go into the top lane, but definitely has flexibility for other roles as well, especially the jungle. And I would like to see, I mean, if it is going to be that Tristana in the bottom lane, you would like to probably see the support pairing picked now before, you see 2 more support champions banned away, but, also could potentially look for
Okay.
a more priority solo lane. I mean, you never know. Could definitely be a support pantheon, but that's not where I assume it's probably more likely to go into the jungle, if anything.
I mean, if you want an aggressive bot lane, Pantheon
Yeah,
support's the way to do it.
yeah, that's true.
Olaf is the red 3 pick for Gojo's Gym. Ori will be the first ban as they look to limit that mid lane pool. I think they do expect this this Tristana to be into the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Jay Feather seems to be
Um,
more of like a mage player as what anyway. So
yeah, definitely. So it makes sense. Yeah, so far played those 2 very, long range, kind of safe mages. So we would expect to see something similar to that in this last game. But yeah, with the Olaf picked up, would presume that one is going to go into the jungle. For Frosty, could also have flexibility to go into the top lane for Young Cali, but really seen it more in the jungle recently. As we're going to see more of these solo lane bans being fired off back and forth here for both of these teams, trying to limit specifically the mid laners that are available. Um, yeah,
Galio Silas taking off the board here. One more coming through for final boss Zenith, and we'll see what Gojo opts for. I think probably mid. You just pick a safe control mage mid. Young
yeah,
Cali did not have fun in game number 2, so I don't think they want to put him in a situation similar to that where you're getting counterpicked super hard in the top lane.
yeah, definitely not. They should probably save this counter pick for him. But I mean, you never know. They could also, oh,
All right,
maybe not.
Gragas is the
Gragas,
lock in there.
yeah, Gragas top is. I don't think we've seen that really, at least on the stream here for CCS. But again, it's kind of one of those things where once the top laners are getting whittled down by these bans, then that's when you start to see less traditional things come up. But Gragas, I mean, can go tank, can go kind of off AP, clear out the waves, everything like that. And so it will probably be this counter pick uh, for Astro Boy left at the end.
Aurora is going to be the mid lane choice for Jay Feather in game number 3 here. Playing 2 new champions
Yep.
for final boss. If you haven't played in a while, this is not going to be a fun game to watch because you're not going to know what's going on. Lock, the
Yeah,
new
I guess.
champion that just came out this week, will be banned until week 8, so we don't have to worry about that.
And so the Alistar being the last pick means that it's definitely going to be the Pantheon into the jungle. And I guess, like, thinking back, it does make sense. They were pretty comfortable in knowing that this Hen was going to be going into the top lane for Murphy, so didn't necessarily feel like it was a blind pick for the Gragas. Felt like they were already able to counterpick this one. So what does Astro Boy have left in the tank here to go against the Aurora? Talia being hovered for now, and that
Whoa.
will be the lock in. Kind of a
Okay.
throwback. We don't see a lot of Talia um, these days. Definitely isn't as strong as it has been in the past. But again, as we've said many times, the pool is whittled down, and it is nice to have that additional global presence or semi-global presence with the ultimate from Talia. Which has been relevant in these games. We've seen a lot of roaming around the map, not only from the solo laners, but also by the supports as well. So being able to add an additional member in, even when teleports are not available, could be important here for Gojo's gym. These team comps do seem a little bit more mishmash, I guess. Not necessarily as much synergy as we maybe saw right off the bat from some of the previous comps. But that's what you get when you have Fearless Draft here. But it is that most important game at number 3. So we'll see, what they're able to do with it once they get onto the Rift.
Yeah, and we mentioned the Talia pick. 10 mid laners are out of the pool for this game. So when you're last pick in mid, there's you got to dig a little bit into the bag to find something you can play here. And Astro Boy opts for the Talia, ready to throw some rocks in game number 3 here. We are going to take a short break to get into this competitive integrity spectator delay, but we'll be on to the Rift shortly to see who wins this series and keeps their playoff hopes alive between Final Boss Zenith and Gojo's gym. We'll be right back. And we are on to the rift for the decider. Game 3 between Final Boss Zenith and Gojo Gojo's gym. Final Boss Zenith back on the blue side here. Murpy on Zahen in the top lane. Haywan on Pantheon in the jungle. J-Feather on Aurora in the mid lane. And Dilly and Bravo rounding it out with the Tristana and the Alistar in the bottom lane.
And on the other side, we got Gojo's gym with young Callie in the top lane, who's already in trouble on the Gragas. We got Frosty in the jungle on Olaf, Astro Boy in the mid lane on Talia, and Hoodie Chris and Wayne on the Sivir and Braum in the bot lane. That is not a good start here for young Callie, getting chunked already to half HP before the minions are even in the lane. So Murphy
Definitely not.
got a good advantage here.
Now, not what you want to see at all. If you're the Gragas, gonna just be getting zoned off of this wave completely. This is an actual disaster for Gragas right now.
Yeah, I mean, Murphy wasn't picking up any of the CS either, but was able to zone Gragas off the majority of that XP, I would presume, whereas Murphy was picking up the XP, so definitely a big advantage early on. And, you know, young Callie, we've seen, you know, we saw last game, Murphy making the early game very, very difficult for young Callie, and it seems like that could be the case again here in game number 3. I don't know if it was necessarily the biggest difference maker, but I would say that you know, but it definitely directed the focus a little bit more of Gojo's gym, forcing them to deal with the Gwen in game number 2. And I think for this time, Gragas definitely, I have more concerns about him missing the number of resources that he could potentially miss here if he does fall too far behind in the lane, in comparison to the Ornn, who kind of always has that long range engage ultimate, etc.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, Gragas is still a safe pick, but doesn't have the items like Ornn does. You know, gonna fall a little further behind if, you know, exposed in the lane, I guess is the way to put it there. But
yeah,
young Callie, no mana right now.
Out of mana. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's going to run out of mana really quickly if he's forced to just use his abilities to clear the wave here. And I mean, he's going to be pretty quickly here forced to go back down or go back to base. You know, Frosty would have loved to try to gank there, but with no mana on the Gragas, it's difficult to see that working out for them, you know, without Gragas being able to get in there. But now we will see this gank.
Frosty into this top side, but yeah, there's nothing here. I mean, what can you do? It's a nice trade from Astro Boy in that mid lane. I think maybe it just might look to try and shove this in, help young Callie get the wave crash so he can base.
Yeah.
And it's a big wave at that. So good job there for young Callie and Frosty to get him out of that precarious situation. Ooh, Astro Boy aggressed on, dodging out. Haywan's taken under the tower. Will not go down though, and just flashes traded Astro Boy for Haywan.
Yeah, a nice gank by Haywan in response, able to make something happen on the map while Frosty was in the top lane, helping the top laner get to be pushed out, which will kind of stymie the issues, at least for the immediate moment here for young Callie, but now he will be without the teleport to get back into that lane again, so has to make the most of his HP and mana here before he'll be able to get another chance to go back to base. Looking at these team comps, though, overall, one of the things that I really am looking out for Final Boss Zenith is whether or not Bravo will be able to do what he did last game, which is get out of the lane and roam around with Haywan, because it is kind of a roving death squad if the Alistar is ever able to travel around the map with the Pantheon and get into positions to gank these lanes. You know, just tons and tons of CC and a surprising amount of burst damage between those two champions. So early in the lane phase, of course, Alistar going to be locked down here into the bottom lane, but as things continue to develop, going to be looking for those support roams, you know, on both sides, but again, especially from this Alistar.
First dragon of the game has spawned up here and immediately getting started by Haywan. It's going to be the Chemtech. That's a new one that we haven't seen so far in this series. And the rest of Final Boss are going to rotate up with their priority and make sure that is secured here. Game 3, the one that, yo.
We get a really
that was
close look
crazy.
at the dragon in there.
It was like a little
yeah.
thing. There's a little thing floating. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't know what it was.
Dragon goes down, but Haywan is in trouble here. Bravo's gonna burn the heal. As here we go, between worlds, they found Astro Boy, gonna get stunned up and taken down. Astro Boy tried to get a little too cute and goes down for it.
Yeah, no reason to be in there. I mean, of course, Haywan was fairly low from taking the damage from that dragon, but knowing that Bravo was there and that Dilly would be able to respond quickly, not necessarily the smartest move to try to get into that area, and Astro Boy does get punished for it. Remember that he didn't have the flash because of that earlier gank from Haywan. Otherwise, maybe would have been able to get out. But as it is, that will be the first blood going over to final boss Zenith, and they've got to be happy with, the tempo that they've been able to set here in this early game, picking up the dragon, picking up advantages, in the bot lane with the push at least, and then also the mid lane now with that kill. On the top side, though, Young Cali has been able to equalize things out here pretty well after that initially what looked like a disaster. So, something at least going all right there for Gojo's gym that they, were probably worried about early on.
Yeah, and got the cannon. That's the most important part right there. It's good for the mental.
Mental
win.
Got to pick up those cannon minions. Faux show.
Gold is even here, and despite the early, first blood going over to J Feather, who, mind you, in game 2 was a beast. So Gojo's gym has to be a little worried. You don't want to be donating too many kills over to the Aurora, because J Feather's shown she can be a problem.
Yeah. Still farming well though for everybody really on the side of Gojo's gym, as we pointed out, as these top laners, they're battling it out. Young Cali potentially could at some point look to knock Zahen under the tower, which he's going to be able to do.
Here we go. Grand Deliverance coming in. Frosty's in the building here. Going to burn that Ragnarok as the Grand Skyfall comes in. Haywan is in the building now, trying to fight. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Man, that was so disastrous. Frosty flashed to try and get the axe, but I think missed it. And then wasn't able to auto and kill Haywan. So that is tough.
Yeah.
But with that kill, Grub's going to go now to final boss.
It felt like Young Cali maybe bailed out a little earlier than he needed to before they were able to pick up either of those kills. So, I mean, yeah, definitely an unfortunate situation here as Wayne tried to come up, but it's too little too late. And the Grubs will go down. Final boss really just taken everything so far early in this game. Got to be very happy with the way that some of these early fights have gone. And I mean, we've talked about it when we've seen Zahen on the stream in the past, but he really gets that free 1.5 about lives when he does have that passive available. Really always just have to be aware of that, because they got enough damage to take down the enemy top laner successfully, his first health bar, but still continuing to live after that. And that's where all the problems came for Gojo's gym.
Yeah, that's annoying. If I'm Gojo's gym, I'm not happy there, because we killed him, but he came back to life, and he doesn't even have a guardian angel yet. So
yeah, it's basically like the old Aatrox.
Yeah.
Was it his passive or what was it back in the day? But anyways, very, very similar. Why not recycle it on another champion, I guess?
Who's also like a Darkin guy or whatever.
Yep, fighter type.
Yeah. Oof, man, Astro Boy almost got destroyed. It just took so much damage there. J Feather with the electrocute procs and the Hextech alternator almost finding the kill in that mid lane. 10 minutes into this game here, about a 700k gold lead for Final Boss Zenith. This is
700K.
their, I mean, that's a lot. That's too much, I think. 700. Now it's down to about 3. I think a couple plays got taken there, but
It would be over.
it would be, the game would be finished.
Yeah.
You can't even buy enough. You can't even buy any like items with that much money. It's just too. It's unfathomable. Dragon has spawned here. Cloud is the second one, so no Cloud Soul again.
Hallelujah.
Game 3 bringing out the new looks here.
Yeah.
It's always fun. Always fun to see that. Young Callie now looking to get the better of these like quick trades, able to fight back Murphy just a little bit better than what we were seeing here, as Frosty on the other side of the map able to take down that dragon, and the ocean brings life to the rift here. Something that I feel like we haven't seen on the stream in a long time. I don't think we've seen an ocean soul in a while.
Yeah, I agree. Been a while.
I feel like it's been Chemtech or Cloud. I think there's one Infernal maybe.
Yeah. My personal favorite is the Hex Tech. We never get that, I guess, but that's definitely the most fun one. Unfortunately.
Built-in static shiv.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's only a 200 gold difference here. Very close game. We haven't really talked about this bot lane 2v2 very much at all, just because they've just been farming it out. Sivir has a little bit of an advantage. Overall, pretty close. But you know that Sivir will eventually become relevant. Last game, well, really the first 2 games, Hoodie Chris picked up resources early on, whether it was just being able to dominate the lane or picking up the kills in the case of the second game. This time still staying, you know, pretty quiet, especially with, you know, Braum as the support, not going to be looking for any big engages early on here. But yeah, I mean, later on will become more of an issue.
Little trading in this mid lane. Astro Boy getting the better of that one here. Give it Jay Feather a little bit back, which has been giving him, and
Yeah,
gonna
definitely.
get that blue buff handed over.
And it did go for the Rylai's first. Well, I guess the tier first, but then the Rylai's after that for Talia. So once she's able to hit that first ability, it does get pretty oppressive as far as she can kind of just keep chaining them over and over again. Really hard to dodge out on those with that slow from the Rylai's being applied. Frosty, though, looks like, you know, kind of waiting in the wings here. They've cleared out the wards in the brushes, so it doesn't seem... Oh. Yeah,
I think they can, yeah. This is a really tough gang for the Olaf here. I don't know if they can do anything, but into this top lane, it's a different story here as the Cask gonna push Haywan back, and young Callie's able to get out of there. I mean, you just can't gank this. Yeah, this is just a lot of time being used here.
Yeah, he's got to start.
Tristana can just jump out. Like,
yeah, I mean, it also, even to begin, I mean, even if they were able to start, you know, the engage there, Tristana could just jump out, but it really requires Bravo to go in with the Alistar combo to begin with, you know, to if there was going to be any possibility of, you know, being in range. And just smart, not wanting to do that. There's no reason for them to, you know, start a 2v2 fight here to begin with for Final Boss Zenith. So a little bit of time wasted for Frosty. Not sure, you know, what else he could have been doing on the map. His camps are just spawning back up again. So just trying to do whatever he can to get some of these lanes ahead. But these top laners, I mean, they've been really just fighting nonstop since level 1 in this lane. Pretty evenly.
Oh, wait a minute. Murphy now looking good here as the Grim Deliverance going to force the flash, but Flashy going to the tower to follow. Solo kill for Murphy on the Zehen. As now Frosty looking for something here. That passive is going to fall off. Oh, he's going to get it back, though, as the revive will come through. Teleport now coming in. Revive's going to be popped as the rest of the team has joined the party. Astro Boy and Wayne are here. Murphy comes back in, but Haywan's gonna find the summon to Astro Boy, and that's a lot of damage onto the Talia. Astro Boy falls. Murphy's 1 HP. Shutdown's gonna go to Wayne, who will flash out, but the auto follows. And Jay Feather finds another kill on this Aurora, now sitting at 2-0-1 with a shutdown.
second time this game. The Zahen passive just coming up huge for them. He goes down initially, but then able to come back up and buy so much more time for Haywan and J Feather to come join the fight. And now it is a 5-1 kill advantage here for Final Boss Zenith, going to take the Rift Herald presumably here on the back end of that as their additional prize. Dragon is coming up in just about 20 seconds, so they will have to reset on the side of Final Boss Zenith if they want to make it over there. But it looks like there's no massive rush to get that one started from Gojo's gym either. So we will presume that there could be a fight over that. When both teams make their way over to this area. There will be push advantage in the bot lane as well here. You can see from Gojo's gym dealing a lot of damage to Dilly, so it will be difficult for him to make his way into this fight.
Bot lane priority to Gojo's gym. Haywan is here to clear that out though, and I think they're just gonna pop this Rift Herald into the bottom lane. It's about half HP. So Rift Herald should take that pretty close, at least 2 plates, and give Final Boss Zenith back the bottom lane priority as the Herald's gonna crash in. Rest of the Gojos just comes over to clear the wave. Tower's not gonna fall yet, but it does give Final Boss Zenith this priority and inside track into the mid lane. Dilly's still low though, so it's still pretty much a 3v4 in favor of Gojo's gym as Asher Boy's doing it here. They try and find J Feather on the hunt and between worlds popped here, but the Dragon at 5,000 HP. Dilly's pretty low still, as now Haywan's half HP. The Glacial Fish is going to find one knock up here as Haywan goes back in trying to find Hoodie Chris, but the rest of the team is there. Astro Boy gets the last hit there, and I think with that, Gojo's gym is going to be able to secure themselves their second Dragon of the game.
Yeah, still a very, very close game there. Hoodie Chris jumped on by Haywan, who did not have enough damage to take him down. And so Gojo's gym does grab the advantage as far as the Dragons here. 2-for-1, or 2-2-1, I guess, so far. And yeah, I mean, it seemed like, Final Boss Zenith initially was in good position in that fight, but then were not able to maintain that positioning as things developed. These top
it's
laners,
hard when you're 80 carries, no HP.
Yeah, that really was kind of the key, is that Dilly was on the other side of the Dragon Pit the entire time. Only real involvement in the game was using the Buster Shot to knock back Frosty's crown, which, delayed the engage a little bit from Gojo's gym, but ultimately not that huge of an impact here. Murphy.
All right. Frosty back in here. Zakat's going to send Murphy back under the tower, and Frosty's crown going to pick up that kill.
Yeah, Frosty finally picking up his first kill of the game. Has been pretty relentless trying to punish Murphy for his positioning, and finally the first time where they really were able to do that without losing anything in response here. And despite, none of the turrets have gone down, but we do see some changing lane assignments here. Both of the bot lanes transitioning over into the mid lane to start clearing those waves there, whereas these mid laners are down to the bot lane. I do feel like this could potentially give a little bit of an advantage depending on the situation.
Oh, Astro Boy. Oh yeah, Astro Boy's so cooked here. Getting in the 2 ultimates used by by Haywan and J Feather. Gonna find the kill onto Astro Boy, and that bottom tower gonna break open the 0-0 tower game here and give Final Boss Zenith about a 1,000 gold lead.
Yeah, which maybe even the biggest goal lead that we've seen so far in this game. It has been pretty close. What I was going to say before that gank is that when you have the mid laners isolated into the bot lane, Talia does have a little bit of an advantage as far as being able to join fights with her ultimate. J Feather does, at least at this point, have teleport available, so it might not have been that big of an issue either way, but it's really not an issue when you just go kill the enemy mid laner. So with that, though, the second turret of the game is going to be taken down by Final Boss Zenith, and that is expanding their gold lead a little bit here. No turrets taken down so far. If you are Gojo's Gym, which was one of the issues that they actually had in the last game as well, weren't able to pick up, the same amount of gold from the structures on the rift there. So 2 minutes still until the next dragon. Not going to be soul point yet for either of the teams. And we've yet to see kind of yet a true large 5v5 team fight here 20 minutes in.
Key item breakpoint right here. Hoodie Chris is going to be able to back and pick up that Infinity Edge. Dilly did the same thing. So 2 items for each of these 80 carries. Infinity Edge, the second choice for both of them. And in the team fights, Sivir, I mentioned this in the early, in the champion select, deals so much damage if you can get those bouncing blades back and forth. But like you said, we haven't really had a true team fight yet.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams, it's been pretty spread out overall around the map. We have seen, a few 2v2s, kind of 3v3 situations in the top lane earlier, but both teams just trying to scale and pick up the resources that they need to have these items. As you mentioned, critically, both of the 80 carries do have their Infinity Edges completed. We also got the full tier stack now from Talia in the mid lane. 2 items done for both of these mid laners as well. So they will be hitting hard once we do have both the teams fighting. The dragon is going to be spawned up here in just about 30 seconds. So
that mid tower
objective.
Gojo's Gym pushing on to this mid tower. Not going to take it yet, but takes it quite low here. And is going to force Final Boss to kind of reposition themselves. But look at Jayfeather. Oh, he gets caught out here. As Between Worlds going to find 2. Glacial Fissure finds the knockups on to 2 as well here. As Frosty is taken pretty low, using that Ragnarok to get out. But the Honey Fruit is there to get him to about half HP. No ultimate on Jayfeather or Wayne or Frosty's Crown here. It's going to be interesting to see how Gojo's Gym opts to move forward into this Dragon Riverside here. Is the cast going to separate Haywan from the rest of the team here? But it looks like the rest of the Gojo's Gym turning their sights onto Murphy, who is able to get out a huge headbutt pulverize from Bravo. Will let the Grim Deliverance come in here. And Murphy is going to get the res once again. Frosty's Crown's taken pretty low over the wall. Bravo as well, running for the hills, will go down to Hoodie Chris. But the Dragon at 3,000, 2,000 health here. Look at Hoodie Chris dealing so much damage on the backside. Haywan is going to get the flash in and will secure the Dragon. But what do we got after now? Hoodie Chris dealing damage. The blades are bouncing. Astro Boy and Jayfeather in the 1v1 mid laners on the other side of the fight. Astro Boy's gonna win that one. But the Dragon goes over to Final Boss Zenith. Now
what?
Starfall.
What?
Oh my god. Haywan.
That was a YOLO moment. He's buried. That's how bad that death was. They just buried him under the rift there. Wow. I mean, Hoodie Chris did a great job in that fight.
Yeah.
How much of a threat he was, just being able to stay out just outside of the range of the enemy carries, not able to do the damage to him to kind of finish out the team fight. Yeah, and really both of these carries doing just tons of damage from Gojo's Gym, equalizing that gold advantage, even though they lost the Dragon, still able to win out on the overall team fight, especially taking down that mid lane turret is huge to be able to open up the map and their vision, the possibilities of extending their vision for Gojo's Gym. This is it's a close game. It's getting pretty late. Might be affecting players' decision making at a certain point, as we saw with that Grand Skyfall at the end. It is what it is,
But it's a close game, and that's all we can ask for here. It's a banger, a game 3 banger here. Less than 300 gold separates each of these teams here, both at 2 dragons. As we have passed this 25-minute mark, the Baron has spawned. You can see pretty significant gold lead for Murphy in the top lane, about 800 there. Everyone else is looking pretty close. I mean, 500 here, 500 there, but overall, it's all canceling out here as Hoodie Chris gonna get a rest on under the tower here. Haywan goes forward, but wait a minute. They found Hoodie Chris. I think that bomb should explode and take down as Dilly goes on a killing spree. They turn their sights onto Frosty's crown. Dilly jumping forward, finds the double kill under the tower and able to get back out of there without an issue. They're turning their sights onto Baron.
Yeah, they'll turn right onto the Baron after that, and just an unfortunate circumstance for Hoodie Chris getting caught out there early on. Gragas was not anywhere in the vicinity, notably, just was kind of chilling down in that bot lane farming, and this is going to be an uncontested Baron for Final Boss Zenith, who now retake the gold lead in this game. Nice work from them, and we'll see if they're able to hold on to that lead from now, or for now. As yeah, I mean, just not the best circumstances there for Gojo's gym.
Yeah, and this it seems like it's falling apart pretty quickly for Gojo's gym here. You know, they were up, they won the team fight and got the dragon, and then all of a sudden now they've lost and they gave Baron over and they're down 2K. So I was a relative switch there, you know, coming in as Tristana so effective at taking down these towers here. You can see just dealing so much damage as they look onto young Callie. The cask gonna force Dilly away as they turn their sights onto Bravo, who pops the Unbreakable Will. Between Worlds is huge. Another huge knockup from Bravo, and Dilly is unstoppable. Jumping forward, a double kill. Hoodie Chris is the target. A triple kill for Dilly. One more jump. Do we have a quadra? Yes, we do. As Astro Boy, the last member of Gojo's gym, standing. Dilly and Haywan both going over the walls, but this inhibitor tower in the bottom lane is falling. The inhibitor is going to fall as well here. 30 seconds on most of these members for Gojo's gym. Astro Boy is going to use the Weaver's Wall to try and defend, but it's not going to be enough here. Gets a nice kill, but Dilly jumping forward, trying to find the Penta. Unofficially does not have it. The shutdown comes through to Astro Boy, but the Nexus is open. I don't think they can defend this here as Final Boss Zenith take game 3.
Yeah, Final Boss. I mean, this is how we've seen them end these games. Just in the blink of an eye, they get the team fight as Tristana, rightfully so, just mogging all the rest of the characters on the screen there.
Prime mod.
You know, again, I would say that if you look at the size of the champions, it's proportionate to their, role in the victory. Bravo had multiple mega engages in those last couple of fights on the Alistar, and then of course Dilly on the Tristana, again notably coming in as a sub in this game, totally taking over as the game went on and doing an excellent job to finish that one out. Congratulations to Final Boss Zenith taking the next step towards securing that lower bracket berth.
Yeah, they do need to get that week 8 win to confirm it, but that is the start here. We're going to take a short break, and I believe we will be getting into an interview from one of the Final Boss Zenith members. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. right, and we are back with the solo laners from the winning final boss Zenith squad, Murphy and J Feather. Congratulations on your win and keeping your playoff hopes alive.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that
Right,
was definitely a good one.
That's so
Yeah, I
much
mean,
fun.
definitely back and forth banger here in this series. Wanted to have a couple of questions for both of you, Murphy. Starting off with you. Last week, we had you on the stream. Unfortunately, you lost to Lotus, but afterwards, the top laner for Lotus, Guar Goomba, shouted you out, said that you were a really strong matchup. Just curious for you, it seemed like you definitely had the advantage in the top lane overall in this series. Who is, if there's a top laner that you've gone against in this league that you felt like is the most challenging, or anyone in particular that you're looking forward to going against here in the CCS?
Who was the person I went against last time? Sorry, I don't know anyone.
Guar Goomba.
Gargamba.
Guar Goomba. I think they were. I think out of everyone that I've gone against, they were probably the roughest one for me to actually try to lane against.
And my
I
other
just
question is, do you think
mm,
anybody's ever going to give you a Lowe? It seems like that's banned out all the time.
no, I don't think so. I think everyone's like too scared of it.
After the
I played it
Nublian.
one time, did good, a Nubly incident, and yeah, since then everything else just went downhill for me when it comes to getting a Lowe.
I think it all went downhill for Nubily since then too. He's not even on the team anymore these days.
Wait, he's not on the
But
team. He's not on the-
He
No,
got
check
booted.
out the plug for the Brankles article. There's a little bit of an interview in the written content for anyone who has not seen the changes for Syndicate. But getting back to this series, Jay Feather, your team has been a little bit back and forth overall. Now you're going 4-3 after this particular win. What has been the challenge with for your team as far as remaining consistent? Is it just about the opponents that you're against, or kind of the nature of your gameplay? Just curious in that regard.
I would say that we just kind of have different ideas on how we want to play the game as like a group, and sometimes we just don't communicate it efficiently enough. And so one person has one plan, another person has another plan. Both plans could be relevant and good, but if you're not together, it doesn't matter. So it's kind of like just a mix of different ideas on what we want to do, and just not doing a good enough job of communicating it to everybody else.
Communication is always a challenge in life, no matter where you are. So next week you got Elysium, or yeah, I'm trying to see here. Next week you're going up against what, Elysium, I believe.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that matchup from either of you?
My coach
I
is
hope it'll
very
be
technically
fun.
perfect.
Right? Yep, we all hope it'll be fun. Jay Feather.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hope it's a good time. Okada is like convinced that they're on fraud watch or something like that. But I don't know. I haven't really watched any of the games back for the other teams, but I'm definitely curious to see because they're doing really well in their group. So it should be a good time.
All right. Yeah, we're excited to see it. And so for both of you, we'll start with Murphy, but you've got this life-changing platform here on the CCS interview on our broadcast. Anybody you want to shout out? Any last messages here in this interview?
Um, Shout out to my mom. She's the goat. She gives me food. Shout out to my coach. He told me to play the game, and so I played it. Shout out to all the other people on my team, apart from Dilly, because I don't know him, but everyone else did really well. Shout out to Dilly because he did really well. And yeah, that's it for me.
All right, G Feather, how about you? Any shout outs, any messages for the stream, for the dedicated viewers?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy who I'm playing with. I mean, Murphy's fantastic. Ek is a very exciting and fun person to play with. Bravo is we love chatting it up. So he's our little cheerleader, and it's always a great time playing with him. Dilly did a fantastic job subbing in tonight and really showed his stuff, And then obviously our coach Akata for putting up with our large amounts of rage baiting that we that we put him through. So. But yeah, that's kind of all I got. Actually, and Brankles because he always believes in us.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. Shout outs to everyone that they said. Final boss Zenith getting the win. Getting the win 2-1 over Gojo's gym here. That's going to do it for us on the CCS. I've been Rye Change, joined by Elsa the Queen. Shout outs to Pop Tart for doing all of the back end production. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Have a good week, and we will see you next time for week number 8.